and welcome to our second Tales of Middenheim, where we are going to take another side trip excursion through the twist-stained, winding streets of the capital of, well, if it all plays out as it should do, Middenland. But who knows what will happen in our version of The Enemy Within? Well, let's find out as we dive into a fun side tale with everybody's favourite. Well, you can choose which character we're going on about. And also everyone's favourite
other person.
Alrighty, so this particular tale is going to take place a day after the previous tale of Middenheim, which you will be quite aware of if you have already watched it. We are possibly still being amused by some of the way the events fell out there. You know nothing.
I know.
So let us start at the very beginning. It's the morning. Yesterday, you had quite a day. A mixture of mentally preparing for the end of the festival, the carnival, where you are intending and confronting your future wife's grandfather. Mm-hmm. And by confronting, we're probably looking at a relatively fatal outcome. Something that you've raised with her yesterday over lunch, because you got to have lunch as you watched water polo out from the second story of this marvellous house on which you find yourself living. And water polo is a sport that is quite extraordinary. Number one, they don't use horses. It's unlike any polo you've seen. Point the first. Point the second, the Square of Marshals has got itself a lowered section. Stairs lead down into this large lowered section. And ramps lead down into it and up to it so the coaches can pass up and down it as well. And this entire area was flooded. For the previous day, it was for ice dancing. But today, water polo.
And Ed question here, is water polo in the world of Warhammer exactly the same as water polo in our world?
Not exactly.
Okay, interesting.
But it's pretty close. For example, in our world, you generally don't have Ulricans, who have decided to send themselves not just one, but several teams from the temple, bored, big, hairy knights, who have clearly taken upon themselves to challenge the entire city's... Okay, let's change that tone, because you can see it for exactly what it is. They're not challenging the city. They're challenging Sigmarite doctrine. They have chosen to wear nothing.
Ah, okay.
The prudishness of the Sigmarites, who believe that such open displays of, let's say, openness, is tantamount to effectively endangering yourself to the possibility of temptation. And temptation leads to... Sigmarites tend to be somewhat more prudish than many of the other, let's say, cults. Mm-hmm. The Ulricans are not, and they're stomping around. Some of them are clearly comfortable. Most of them, in fact, are pretty comfortable with the whole affair. A couple of them look a bit grumbly, like they've been sort of elbowed into doing this.
Yeah. It's cold up north.
Yeah, quite. Not only is it cold, though, it has the desired effect, because late in the afternoon, a relatively large group of loud, sometimes chanting, sometimes singing, often proselytizing Sigmarites who've come out with placards that you can't help feel like are just a waste of time, because all it's doing is making them the focus of the ire of the city. Because the Ulricans are, generally speaking, very well received. They are the rugby team, if you will, of the local city, and they protect the city. Big burly folks that come from all classes, quite unlike any of the other knightly orders, which makes them super popular with the normal people. Anyone born big has a future with the White Wolves. Anyone. Now, let's be honest, the vast majority of them that are born big are big burly guys. And in this case, they're all big burly guys. Some of them have the general attitude towards water polo that, well, I have towards water polo. And that's it, that they kind of don't care. They're not here for the water polo. They're here for the obvious statement that they're making. They are also, each and every single last one of them, little more than teenagers. Now, that doesn't mean they're actually teenagers, but they act like teenagers, constantly splashing each other, pushing each other, drinking, pushing each other, knocking down GM screens, slapping each other, spanking arses, laughing, challenging each other to do stupid things, go into the next game that's going on because large sunk squares separated out into 9 separate pegged out pitches. Okay, but they're not pitches, they're just places where people are wading through with balls and throwing them at each other. The Elricans, though, don't use the ball to score goals. They use it to try and break noses. And that's how they're mostly keeping score. How many noses can they break? And one team is currently sitting, as you are through the course of it, at 17 losses. As far as they're concerned, though, they're 17-0 up.
Sure.
They haven't lost a single nose. The balls somehow both float and are hard and have been a point of curiosity for you.
Ooh.
As you're not quite sure exactly what's going on there. But they're certainly hard enough that there's been several burst noses.
How's Marguerite reacting to various displays of banter?
She has dealt with a castle full of men for most of her life. And she has dealt with the very worst that Imperial society has to offer. And that includes the worst cultists of all the major powers of the Dark Gods. She's hosted them. She has worked with them. She's spoken to them. She has ruined them and brought in more to that ruin. There is nothing that shocks her. There is nothing that surprises her. And if anything, she finds this sort of thing as quite healthy. The opposite of what the Sigmarites think. They think that it is effectively like tipping yourself over the edge. And you're just going to go on that long, slippery slope where she's like, no, you're accepting this as a part of your character. And it stops it from tipping over the edge to excess because you're not trying to deny it. The Reiklander perspective is denial is correct, but denial builds fantasy. Which she's happy to chirrup up about in the corner while you have your nice lunch together.
Yeah.
Because she has opinions. She thinks that the Sigmarites are pretty much, to their core, broken. She thinks they are mostly murderers.
Oh, right.
And they're mostly murderers. They claim that they're there to ensure that they don't fall to excess as they burn, murder, and kill anything that they meet, falling to excess everywhere.
Interesting. How do you feel about Leopold?
Is a Sigmarite.
Wow. Okay. Nope. Right.
So that was your yesterday.
My girlfriend doesn't like my best friend.
In the later afternoon.
No, she really likes Lucas. Don't worry about
Oh, that's true.
In the later afternoon,
Nice.
You get to sit with Lucas, and he wakes up in the evening. He is not in a position to talk much. He does manage to say, "Hello," at least once, and you're like, just be quiet.
Yeah.
But there's little else to say. He's alive. His throat is ruined, and it's left him with a somewhat husky voice. That's really difficult to talk with just now, I'm sorry to say.
No, that's fine. I read him poetry, and I bring him red wine.
He will imbibe both with equal relish. And that leads us to the next day. It appears that, unexpectedly, Alamennowyth was arrested. But she wasn't alone, because that evening, Marguerite was arrested as well.
Oh, okay.
As the pair of them were taken to the palace. Now, she wasn't arrested the previous night because Alamennowyth had to set up her getting arrested. That's the real story rather than the official story. So Alamennowyth had to go up to the palace, organize it all, come back again the next morning, and then go back up to the palace that night with Marguerite.
So we this is not a surprise.
No.
No.
Good.
We had planned for her to go to check out the room.
Yeah.
And this was the only way we could get her in.
Excellent.
So this is the morning after the night before.
Very quickly, if her stones board is unattended, how's it looking?
Do yourself a Intelligence test.
Okay. Eey, that was close to something bad. 8 successes.
8 successes.
Yeah.
It's you think it's looking like a very clean, solid opening.
Okay, right.
It's looking clean and solid to you, but you have to admit you really wished you'd played Stones more. You're quite aware that she has played it a hell of a lot more than you. In that, when she moves, she does so with purpose, certainty, and practiced ease, where you are on the tippy toes of your brain going, I'm definitely going to get this right. You've got to make a challenge after all.
Yeah,
But it feels good. It doesn't look wrong. It's looking like a nice setup for an opening.
Okay, good. Studies it for a little bit. Thinks about it. Gonna just mull it over for the day and see if he gets a good move out the back end of it.
When I get back, I want to check my rat trap.
And that's when you get back.
Yeah.
You're not back
Yeah.
yet. So it is the morning after the night before. Marguerite and Alamennowyth are escorted from Middenheim's palace, the Midden Palats, to the ex-champion's house. In silence. You know they're coming. You're quite aware that they are due at almost any point in the morning. You don't know when, but you are quite keen to know what the news is. So you can see them coming long before they actually arrive. The water polo for the next day is being set up. Today is the day where they're going to actually siphon it down towards a winner. The previous day was just the league setting up which teams would be facing what teams. And now only a single Ulrican team has managed to make it through to the next day.
Yeah.
All the rest of them, their heart wasn't exactly in it. But this team is actually pretty decent. You saw them the other day. And they managed to get both several points and several points.
Right.
They're less pointy than they used to be.
Yeah. If you can get more of 1 point, it allows you to get the other points relatively quickly.
Indeed. A point of conversation between you and Marguerite.
Very much.
And you can see them coming down from the small nook where you're set up for the morning. You haven't slept frightfully well, but you have read quite a bit. And there's a reason you didn't sleep frightfully well. A bad dream. A bad with a capital B, not just a little b. And it was, of all things, a horse. A grey horse. And simply stating the words grey horse doesn't sound frightfully frightening. But you would like to have words with anybody that thinks that. That snorting face suddenly in front of you, darkness flaring out from around it, may have been one of the most terrifying, literal nightmares of your life. And when you wake up with the stark reality, the firm material world around you, it does have that dreamlike quality where there's a part of your brain that goes, why was that so terrifying? But when you were in it, there was nothing more terrifying in the world. Waking up, you were sleeping slumped in a chair. Your bed's not the best state anyway, and you'd fallen asleep with your book. The chair itself is scraped to pieces. The fire is out, and somewhat disturbingly, all of the coals and the wood are pushed right up against the fireplace at the back, away from where you are. Interesting detail to note. Every candle is out, and they haven't gone down. They've been blown out. 2 of them have toppled, and you would guess from the way that the wax is splashed again away from you. Yeah, fuck sleep.
Okay, I'll make a note of all that. So just all what's it called when you're sick and things happen to you?
Your journal?
No.
Like,
Symptoms.
That's it. All the symptoms. Yeah,
Well
make a note
done.
of all those symptoms. Blimey,
those in your-
this is good.
Medical notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you stay awake for the rest of the night and eventually see them arriving as you sit in the nook going through one of your books. You've taken to rereading the books that were left to you by your doctor, Dr. Flaster, because you'd taken them in the first run. But you found through rereading, all the minutiae now means different things to what it did last time because you've read other books and you're beginning to triangulate how things connect together.
Got more understanding. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a certain pleasing part of that study that grants you what you feel is a greater depth of knowledge. You're beginning to feel that you're sort of getting it. But there was nothing more annoying, really, than going to Stefan and realizing you just didn't have the depth of knowledge, the awareness of all the different possible things it could be. All you could do is a light on a potential in a book you'd read once, and you really wanted to reference that book at that point, but you didn't have it. So you were sort of grasping at straws. And you begin to also, through that process, realize how much you reckon most doctors are probably bullshitters.
Well, yeah, we've seen it firsthand, right? I think Gerhardt will probably start as well, because two failures happened in that room as far as he's concerned, and they can't happen again, which is I sort of think I know what's going on, and I can't fix it, so I need to fix that in the first place. I'm not being able to fix it. But the other one was I didn't know what tincture did what, and that's a problem. So I think he's going to start looking to study a bit more of that kind of stuff.
The correct term is apothecary.
Yes, so
Indeed.
Begin to apothecarize.
Indeed. Begin to understand what all of them, not just asking, I want one of those, but why? What do they smell like? Yeah. And that just takes practice. That takes being exposed to all the different smells, going to a shop and buying things and trying them all out. The few that he personally uses, he knows pretty well now. He could, yep, that's going to wake someone up, and yep, that's the one that's made.
I've got the knockout, and I've got the wake up. Yeah, I've got the numbing, itching. Hang on, it's in my big bag. And there's something else.
And Alamennowyth, you return. Marguerite is silent as she's being marched along beside you. You are wearing the same motley that you left towards the palace in last night. Alamennowyth looks like she's going out to entertain someone. How potentially appropriate.
As always, I'll try and make conversation and find out what the Wolf Palace is. Look for flags and
are not talking.
Yeah, of course.
So you get back, and the captain says, "Stop! No, one more step. You've been escorted to the door. Enough of your nonsense.
Of course, Captain.
The palace won't put up with it any longer. If you are summoned again," he says, "we will be taking you directly to jail. There will be no visiting any other quarters. To the jail. Do you understand?"
I understand, Captain.
"And you should know better." Clearly doesn't know her name. As the knights march off. One of the knights who's at the door says, "Excuse me, Captain." And he goes, "What? It's been a long bloody night." He says, "No, it's all right. I was just going. It doesn't matter." "No, what?" "No, it really doesn't matter." He says, "What?" "Just going to ask if you knew how the Poland team had done yesterday."
Marguerite might, though.
Indeed, she might. She's not volunteering.
Oh.
As he goes, "I don't care." "No, of course not. My ladies. You better escort her up to her chamber." As the knight on the other side of the door says, "Yes, of course. You can come this way, please." And that is how you return. I imagine you're already coming down the stairs if you wish to be so.
Yeah, probably. He probably would have been if he couldn't sleep.
Because you've been watching it from the window to see when they arrive.
Oh yes, fine. Yeah. Yes. If that's the case, right. Morning. Hello. Like just a little overrushed coming down, more than usual.
He says, "Excuse me, my lord. I have to escort ladyship to our quarters."
"Oh yes, very good."
He starts walking up the stairs past you.
Right.
And then he looks back at her, and she just nods once, pulls up her skirt slightly, and starts making her way up the stairs.
I will be up in a moment, my lady. I'll go downstairs to check for rats.
As you're left between this, one goes down, one goes up.
Oh God. Decisions, choices. This is.
I'll be up in a minute. Go up with her.
Right. Fine. Okay. Lovely stuff. Sort of behind her. Morning, my lady. How was your evening?
Look, actually, it was quite fruitful.
Oh, good. Excellent.
In both a positive and a negative way.
good oranges, but upon opening, slightly rotten. Or dry, maybe. Or pip?
Rotten.
Oh, okay. That's worse than the pip.
Quite.
Hmm.
As ahead. Would you like me to just take a couple of extra steps forward? She says, no, you're escorting me to my room. We can talk in private there. Now, do be a dear and get us to my room. Clearly doesn't like being called a dear. As you are escorted up to the room.
Mm-hmm.
There's no knight there. As he pauses, looks at it, goes, He says, we're not going anywhere. Why did you go fetch wherever the guard is supposed to be? Right, yes. Here's one. And off he goes.
Just before you go,
She opens the door there. Rubbish.
I was going to say, the fact that no one's here is a bit worrying, actually.
Well, they didn't know when I was going to return, did they?
Right. This doesn't help with the... Okay, it doesn't matter.
As she goes into her room. Don't worry, all my preparations have been put away. You've got nothing you need to fear about. She comes in. You know that she was preparing for whatever ritual that she was going to be doing.
Yes.
And you had already made it quite clear you didn't want to see it, just in case, while simultaneously in your head going,
Things. New stuff to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope, fine, good. I'll register once again. This will fall not on deaf ears, but I know you don't care. I'm still not entirely the biggest fan of this course of action, but I know why you're doing it. Just so you know.
It's a terrible course of action. It's a terrible course of action.
Okay, good. All right, fine, we're agreed.
We are, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't be pursued.
Yeah.
War, after all, is a terrible course of action. Thousands of souls are sent to the realms.
Yes, but you can make better decisions. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
She makes her way over and sits down in her chair. There is a rat in the trap.
Well, I'll take it and like presumably I can like cover it in a thing so the knights don't see me taking a live rat to my going through.
Sounds good.
What the fuck are you doing?
Bag it.
Bag it.
You're in one of Birdie's bags.
Yeah.
Bag a rat.
Bag a rat, run upstairs.
Okay.
Rat is bagged. And Birdie's still not back. You know that she is currently scouting out potential
Scoping.
places beneath the city for Marguerite to potentially do whatever it is that she's going to do so that they cannot be easily found. Yes. Yeah, that.
Okay. All right. Well, look, my lady, you might know... I've had a dream again.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, one of those dreams, not just a sort of generic one. And it had some effect, to say the least. So I sort of... Well, it would be good to get your perspective. And when Alamennowyth arrives, she'll be able to give me a little hand, I'm sure. Although I don't know whether it's different between elf physiology and human physiology when it comes to...
different.
Okay, interesting.
There is going to be... I'll admit to some concern. You are supposed to be underneath the tutelage of somebody else who is supposed to be ensuring that this doesn't happen to you.
Yes.
And whilst I have some potentially mentally useful exercises that you could engage with, they may interrupt what he would prefer that you were doing. They are certainly of a different tenor.
Right.
They would be successful, but you can't unknow something that you know.
Okay.
And I may weaken the foundation of whatever it is that he intends to teach.
Yes, I think he sort of was going on a stove hot sort of approach, from what I could tell. You know, when you're a child, and the idea is one burns oneself, but you learn it and then never do it again. But I don't really. You sort of still have to tell people that the stove is hot. You know,
this is passive. This is something you cannot control.
Yes.
At least, not until you're taught how to. And if he has not taught you how to, you are not in a position to. You have arrived. Are you? There's nobody at the door.
I'll just go in. Well, no, not because it's polite.
Alamennowyth, as she looks up. We have guests.
One live rat, as requested.
Oh, marvellous.
What?
She says, is the bag tied? Put it in the bottom shelf, will you? Inside that jar.
Do you need it to stay? What?
Shall I let it out the bag in the jar?
No.
What?
Leave it in there.
I've got a lot of questions now. But I feel like it
It's
would...
part of her preparation.
Oh, right. Okay, fine.
So I shan't be answering.
Good idea.
So I am particularly concerned for you.
Yes. I've had another one of those dreams.
And still no sign of Sigfeder this morning.
No. And I thought it would sort of, when he sort of goes off on his forays, and considering we haven't seen him since basically when we arrived, and he tasked me. No.
He helped you with those fortunate individuals by the household.
Well, what was that, day one?
It was 3 days.
Day 2?
3 days ago. So
Is that it?
Yeah.
Wow. We have been doing a lot of stuff in 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
good.
but that was the beginning. We're on day 7 now.
The last time any of us saw Sigfeder was when you and the others were at the forge taking Lucas there. I saw Sigfeder in the house. I told him something. I gave him an update on our adventures. He went off to do something. I was expecting, from the tenor of our conversation, I would see him in a day, 2 days perhaps. Just normal. He didn't say, I'm going to be leaving now. Look after Gerhardt for me. He made it known that he would be talking to you about
A knock on the
your
door.
progress.
Right. Okay.
And she says, yes. From that side. Just making sure that you're aware that we've arrived, Mum. She says, fetch me breakfast, please. There's a pause. Up. And she says, it is most concerning. And then a head sticks in, and a young man, about 23, 24, so older than you, a young man, sticks his head and says, excuse me, Arda, get me breakfast, please. Yes, ma'am. This is the door.
Who is that?
This is one of the knights. I don't know that one's name.
Oh, well, the power dynamic seems to have changed dramatically. What have you done? Or you done?
I have merely existed.
Yeah, she tells them what to do, and the first time they do it, they have lost.
She smiles. Actually, that's quite accurate.
And now they do it.
All it took was 1 week night, and all the rest have fallen in line.
Right, okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
I would recommend experimenting with it. Find the weak link, and then watch the sheep follow the shepherd.
Right, I know you're obviously very physically attractive, but sometimes you're quite scary. But it's also
She smiles.
it's also quite attractive as well. It's sort of interesting.
Do you want me to go?
No, I'm just being direct.
We're not yet married.
Cut through
Of course.
So, she says, there is a concern regarding my fiancé and his spiritual well-being, which in turn has turned to a concern regarding Sigfrid.
Yes.
Last I heard, he was investigating matters at the Collegium Theologica concerning yourself more than anything else. Which means if he was in one place regularly, he could have been spotted and someone could have lain in wait. But what I find most unlikely is that he could have been ambushed without somebody noting it. So that seems to be an unlikely outcome, lest he went and followed someone else perhaps and got himself into a spot of trouble.
Considering what I found out yesterday about another high-ranking individual in the city who is corrupt in some way, it may be that he met someone he knew and trusted, and it turns out that and went with them willingly, and it turned out they had been turned.
Oh, interesting.
Who is this high-ranking individual, since you are now teasing bait before us? I shall back down on that hook.
The preceptor at the Temple of Sigmar. He leads the Order of the Hammer. Is that right?
Order of the Silver Hammer.
Order of this. Well, yes, he's the ranking member of the Silver Hammer in the city.
Which type? Is he a wandering priest or is he a Templar?
He's a Lord Templar.
Oh my.
Forgive me, I don't know.
You do know.
I know all this.
Yeah, because you are obviously a man who has been raised in the Empire. and noble, and also someone who has been raised broadly in the Siegfried faith, the Templars, the witch hunters of Sigmar.
Right.
They are notorious for being the burning sword, so to speak, that will descend upon the villages to cleanse them of any particular ill. They have a terrible or marvelous reputation in many circles.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know their inner workings or their ranks. You didn't even really know they were called the Silver Hammer. You just knew them as Templars.
Okay.
But the Templars are basically scary witch hunters.
Right. It's the sort of thing when they're around, even if you've done nothing wrong, you still kind of feel like you've done
That's
something
exactly.
wrong.
They're like internal audit.
Yeah.
I
was just going to say
Can
the
confirm.
police, but
No, can confirm. Or maybe it was the High Templar, but whatever. A Lord Templar reported in to this preceptor, gave him information about a village outside of town, went to go up to the palace to warn the palace that this town was fallen, and this Templar was assassinated by black powder weapon. And then I saw from the preceptor's window a man in his 50s, who I assume to be the preceptor, I will know if I see him, signalling with mirror beyond the city gates, job done.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
right.
And the Lord Templar who was assassinated was dripping, according to Tsume, with artifacts, holy artifacts. He was clearly noble. He was clearly known to the people. He seemed powerful.
So we've got ourselves at least one traitor sitting within the cult of Sigma. That being the case, perhaps that is why Leopold was so keen to stay away from it.
Yes.
Yes.
Further, the Lord Templar who came from outside the city says there was a village nearby that had at least 100 mutants in it, including one child who had murdered a beastman and was feasting on its remains. That's the news he was taking to the palace.
That is a significant number. That is significant.
He was murdered before he could take that news to the palace.
That would suggest to me that there is an external cult that is looking to build a power base, centralizing their, let's say, influence in one area so that they may better marshal for whatever it is that they plan.
Interesting.
Further, I think I have also discovered why Leopold cannot go to the High Temple of Ulrich. Because the last time he snuck in, something bad happened with the flame.
What happened?
I don't know. But yesterday, when Tsume and I went in openly, something very bad happened.
Who's to say it was him?
Well, they described.
Who's to say it was him?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you think it's the other one?
Well, it was some years ago.
Oh, well, that kibosh is that.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He doesn't, apparently he has no memory of it, because that often happens to blessed priests who go there. Something happens because they've challenged Ulrich.
Oh, I am most curious to visit it myself.
But my bigger concern is I think I might know what your grandfather plans. I think they might want to. Tsume said it's like a weakness. I think they might want to open it.
Okay, so similar to Bogenhafen.
Yes, but
on a larger scale?
worse because there's already a weakness and a power that sits behind this here.
So, I should like to make commentary on this. I have been doing some significant contemplation and also research. I have a feeling that Bogenhafen may be the same, in that it is spiritually weak.
Oh, so like a point of power.
Not exactly.
Or point of...
There is an event that happened a long time ago,
All right.
a very long time ago, where an entity, one that you all know, the Great Enchanter, and just the words is enough to send a spine tingle down your back. The Great Enchanter, Drachenfels, is basically the bogeyman of your lands and all the lands of the Middle Mountains. A figure who lives up in the mountains, or lived, he's dead now, lived up in the mountains and had done since before the Empire. and had been a figure that at points was of friends and then the greatest of enemies, and then friends again. Most famous of his many, many infamous actions was inviting all of the Reichland noble families to a great feast.
I do know this.
He poisoned them all.
Yeah, why do I know
and
this?
left them paralyzed at the poison feast as they all died. One of your ancestors was there. It broke one of the key lines of your bloodline. It was, however, an important act for your family as well, because it was the one that allowed you to then take control of Ubersreich. Because of all the deaths in the other family lines in the local area, they no longer had heirs, and your family stepped in. In fact, if you keep on going back, ultimate grandfather stepped into that gap and took control of Ubersreich and took control of Blackrock Castle. So, an event centuries ago now of extraordinary importance, but most recently, he supposedly made a return when a great play was staged at Drachenfels Castle. His old castle, which had been empty for years after Drachenfels had been killed by one of the Electric Hounds. That did not go down well. But he's dead now, apparently, but then he'd been dead before. He is a figure of extraordinary
heebie-jeebies.
Heebie-jeebies down through the Grey Mountains. And just simply saying his actual name, Drachenfels, is considered to be, you don't do that.
Okay.
Well, there was one night that he was responsible for, it is presumed to be several million deaths. Possibly. Including all, bar maybe one single soul in Bergenhafen.
Several million?
Yes, demons came screaming through a great gate that was opened. And one feels that that was what they were attempting to recreate. This is not a new event. What you encountered was a plan that had already been tried before.
Who was the one?
Nobody. At least nobody that I've encountered.
A law history.
No.
Oh, fuck.
You're not going to get that one from lore history. You would need an arcane particular one. Just standard history, standard history might tell you that one person supposedly survived.
Okay.
I'm unfortunately dealing with multiple sources which conflict, but what they have in common is that demons swarmed all of the Vorbigland. All of it. Ubersreich included. And some held them off and others did not. Bergenhafen in particular fell. So the event that was stopped, one believes, by yourselves, it's possibly just a recreation of something that came before, but also I think could be because the area is weak and has been weak in the past.
When we were at the final point of the ritual, the thing said the Choiga would be useful elsewhere, I think.
You mentioned this before.
Yes. I also have one other, just something to give you that maybe nothing, but if it sparks something within you. The numbers 3, 1, and 2 kept on appearing yesterday, and 12.
Numbers.
They are not useful to you.
No. You. It must be said that I am no celestial wizard. Numbers, numerology, the concepts of using mathematics are not core to how I understand magic. There's little that I could do here. My grandfather was always interested in it. He was particularly interested in the heavens and potentially trying to predict where Warpstone might try and land somewhere else, but that was more his speciality.
So the number 6 has no significance to what is happening.
Well, how can one be certain that it does or it doesn't?
It's not a number that... Right, fine. Numbers are beyond me.
It's probably best to stay that way.
Okay, so all good stuff. What's the plan now? Rolling it back slightly.
So I have one fear concerning where we go next. Beyond the fact that clearly you need Sigfeder And that is that if you are correct and they are attempting a ritual to open the flame, for example, to be something else, that might not rely upon huffing the demon.
Yes.
However, everything that we have in terms of evidence suggests that they are doing something with the graph. And that has nothing to do with the flame. Absolutely nothing. He's not going towards the flame. He's not involved with the flame. So one would feel that at face value, at least, your fear is exactly that, a fear.
Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, does the Graph of Middenheim have any power over the cult of Ulrich?
None.
Right.
Although he is, because of his position, somewhat sacred to the cult of Ulrich, in that he represents certain things here in Middenheim. As far as I'm aware, he has absolutely no power and authority over it at all. Indeed, because the separation of the cult of Ulrich and the state is hard written into the law of Middenheim. And should the lords of Middenheim make any attempt to try and take control of the cult, it will leave. It has left before. It moved to Taliban once.
Okay.
The graph could say, send a letter to R. Ulrich requesting that he do something, and R. Ulrich would choose whether he would listen to that letter.
Right. How much influence does he usually have?
It depends on the request.
I don't know Middenheim politics frightfully well, I'm sorry to say.
No, but not a great deal. I've heard they actually hate each other.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, there we go.
You sure?
No, I'm sure that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true.
Do a little law politics just to see if he could almost request the temple to be shut, for lack of a better term, for a few days. You know, to do a big...
I'll let you do the roll, and I'll tell you what your roll says, yeah.
Lovely. There's a roll. It's bad. 98.
You've
Fail.
no idea.
Yeah, nothing.
That was a roll. That was rolled.
So I agree. It was a fear born of what we witnessed yesterday at the temple.
Sounds like we had quite an intense day.
We did. We saw a woman walk into the flame.
Right. Is Yume okay?
You'll need to look at her. Her nose is frostbitten.
Oh, right. Okay. Is she here now? Is she here now?
She's been ensconced in her room since the previous day.
Right.
And yeah, she hasn't want to come out. She is. Let's just move over this since Sage isn't here with a simple do your test for exactly how well you help her current situation.
Yeah.
But
and then we'll figure that out later on.
She is frostbitten.
Crit.
Oh, well done. Go again.
33, which is always nice.
Nice.
Then 8 successes on that. So
nice as well. So that'll be like 11 plus your intelligence bonus because we're healing as well.
Plus my intelligence bonus.
Yeah, add your intelligence bonus for this one because we're going to do it.
Well. That's a lot of numbers. 20 is the overall thing. Do I also get 2 extra successes for field dressing?
Yes, you do.
Okay, and then I'm also on 121. Is that another 2?
Yep.
So 24 is actually the one on that one. Yeah, that's good.
You did well.
Big numbies.
Big numbies. Slowly but surely
Can
becoming a medium-sized PC.
Can he check me over too? Because I'm also wounded.
Yeah, you are a little bit on the
I'm
other
also
side.
slightly frostbitten.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but not actually frostbitten in your case.
Yeah, but I've got taken
But
wounds.
she is, yeah. So,
sure.
just worth noting, on poor old Yume's side.
Crit again.
Oh, wow. I think
only
that's
22 though.
This requires some extra.
Well, it is a crit, right? Because he'll need a crit because I'm 1 an elf, 2.
2, 7, 9 plus 4 again, basically.
So she's not frostbitten.
Yeah.
Right.
And you learn something.
Uh-huh.
You're not entirely convinced that elves really do the frostbitten thing.
Oh, right.
You're through what you've read and through what you've seen, it's not just that their internal temperature is higher, which it is. It's just they're different. Their flesh just seems to not take permanent damage in the same way that, for example, human flesh does. It lasts longer. Elves.
The damage does?
No.
Oh.
Elves last longer. But
Right.
part of that is how they themselves regenerate, for want of a better way. how they heal. And they heal cleaner. They don't scar as much.
I'll have a look at that chest wound, the heart chest wound that you took. If that's the case.
When was that?
When in the bottom of Wittgenstein's castle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just to check
There's
that.
not even a scar.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elves heal well. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't scar. You know they do. You've heard tales of them scarring. You've read books where they scar. But it looks like it probably takes something pretty big. Or, as you are beginning to surmise, they want to keep the scar.
Interesting.
There's a part of you that's beginning to think that maybe elves kind of half control how well they heal.
Huh. Do you have any scars at all?
You know, for example, that she said already that she can hold her heartbeat. In the same way you can hold your breath, she can hold her heartbeat. And elves do that when they take precise shots so that their bodies don't move.
Yeah.
Breath held, heartbeat held, and they're like statues. And you're coming to the conclusion that perhaps elves are a little bit more just generally in control of their bodies than humans are. Humans are more like animals in that regard. They just go. Where elves have got more control over exactly how well it goes. Not necessarily a huge advantage, but definitely something different.
She took that wound was bad, but she took a really bad critical to her leg. Remember when we were near the Demon's Bowl? That she got really ill from? So that would be the only one recently that was bad enough to scar.
Yeah.
And have a look. I don't think it's
No,
scarred.
it's not scarred.
Oh, right. Interesting.
And yes, that does mean, if you're at all interested, that elves can choose to ignore all the scarring criticals. But they choose to. So they can't take them. And once they're taken, stuck.
Interesting. Please don't take this the wrong way.
I will not.
Okay.
I have decided.
It's a good way to do this, actually. Do you mind if I potentially write some papers on you?
On me?
Well, on elven physiology. You as the subject, but
Well,
elven
it would have to be anonymous because, of course, due to my personal feelings about people knowing about me, I would not like them to know it was me.
Okay.
But should you happen to meet an elf who I could procure for you from, say, the Spread Eagle brothel, there are 3 elves that live there, then you could, of course, write a paper on them.
The what now?
The Spread Eagle brothel. It is
Right.
a brothel nearby the Temple of Ulrich. We spent some time there yesterday.
Okay.
Just passing through.
Sure. I'd sort of prefer if I was slightly more friends, if that's okay, with said person. I can use one of their names if you wish.
You understood, did you not, Magritte?
Magritte looks up and says, "Pardon? I wasn't listening."
Yes. I would prefer it if you used someone else in your paper.
Right, understand. Got you.
Right, so she looks down. I didn't even hear who said that.
No, no,
Exactly.
I'm with you. Lovely. Okay, that's good. That's good. If it goes well, any proceeds obviously shared.
Oh, excellent.
It's worth noting that
What's my current short term? Because that's quite a good one.
she is,
Yeah.
as in Yume, is in a pretty poor state.
Right. Okay.
Her nose is actually frostbitten. Her fingers are a bit blackened. And this is the bit that all those crits really benefit from. Yume heals like an elf.
Huh.
And
Interesting.
you can see the cracking already along the lines of what should be permanent damage to her fingers. Permanent damage to her face. And you can see that it's already going through the process of healing. If she hadn't been here, and if she hadn't given you that logical leap and connection, Yume isn't like other humans.
So. Okay. But I've only put that together when I come back and fix this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Afterwards.
Right.
As you go, wait a minute, no, wait a minute, as you connect it all
I'll tell
together.
her a bit. I'll tell her about that later on.
Yeah,
And we've also got Birdie as well, who just magically heals too.
Her finger just came back.
Okay, cool. This is really good.
It's a lady thing. Did you not know that?
No. He scratches out physiology of elves and just puts Worman.
Lady.
I've come to the conclusion all women heal
Weird.
very well. Far better than us fellows.
Okay.
So,
Right, good.
fascinating conclusions to draw, but it doesn't seem to be by what you've read a natural outcome, meaning that Yume is either ensorcelled, different, lying, or option D.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and we sort of know that she's a bit different anyway, so that's not new.
So in the newspapers, have you seen any word of Sigfeder or other Nordlander
Who are you saying that?
to Magritte?
Or
Because she
you're-
was
she's been reading
You're going
the
back to
newspapers.
Magritte's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I presume that Alamennowyth was
No.
there when I was checking it.
right. Good.
Okay, so right, let's the places that he went to. So Collegia,
Collegium Theological.
that's the one,
The theatre he went with you,
and the theatre quite
Yes,
a
he
lot
did.
actually.
and
He
he
went
had
twice.
girls with
He
him,
did like
cheap
girls.
girls.
Yes, he had
Alright.
holes that he had procured from somewhere.
Okay, that's not
That's good because they will probably give us information for money.
He's quite distinctive,
He is.
yes.
and he doesn't do anything particularly important to disguise himself. In that one feels that the face that he wears publicly is itself the disguise.
Exactly.
But it's an easy guise
To take.
to
to
follow.
track down.
Yes.
Do you know where he? No.
No.
Okay. You might know because you were at places yesterday.
But that was at the temple. I would imagine, knowing him, he probably wouldn't have gone far to get them.
So presumably
Round
somewhere
about the
close
Collegium.
to the Collegium Theological.
Because were you at the theatre near the Collegium?
Yes,
Am I
we
right
were.
in saying that? Yes.
Okay, so three
The-
things.
College of Music?
Yes, we went through all. It's very close.
Yes, so we should go and have a look there for inns, brothels, and just ask around. He's distinctive enough that
But okay, yep. And theatre. Okay, good. I don't think he would be jumped to the Collegium, if I'm going to be completely honest. Brothel maybe, theatre maybe. Both of those things.
but also I think it's if we don't find evidence, if he wouldn't have gone without a fuss, I think we need to consider whether he just went with someone he knows.
Also true. Let's start at the beginning. So Collegium. Yes. How long will that take us to get over there?
No, it's actually quite easy. If you go into the Square Marshals,
Mhm.
up towards the palace, the main road of the palace connects right the way over to the causeway at the east side of the city.
Mhm.
About 2/3 of the way across, you'll see the rise of the Royal College of Magic. So just go towards there and ask for direction. You'll be pointed straight towards the Collegium
Fine.
But we're
Theological.
unlikely to get into the Collegium.
Yes.
Or
Theological.
alternatively, no, just go to the no, because I went there through. So I believe it might be possible that it's just behind the Temple of Sigma, but my concern is that it's on a different level. So
Mm.
you go to the Temple of Sigma,
Yes, I've
look out
got
and
lost
look
a few
down.
times.
But I do know that it connects through to the Royal College because they have
The wizards.
they have a connecting point in that they are constantly in communication.
Okay.
So there's a road that connects the two of them.
What's Spengler up to?
Pardon, he's off
Is he
doing his
doing
preparation.
his- yeah,
At the
yes,
Wizards, yeah.
at the Wizards Guild, which is also right beside the Collegium Theological.
Okay, look, we all right. Well, no, this is a good test. We try to get in. Like it. You know, I'm noble. I have the voice if needed, and
You're a graduate,
knowledge,
a doctor,
I'm a
graduate
doctor.
of Reichland University?
yes, really, these not Nordlanders, Midlanders, and
Middenheim.
Middenheimers, whatever. These people above Altdorf, backwards cities
And
don't
then
really bother with these people.
and then we can just go out in loops to inns and brothels, etc.
Yes, you can. You'll do that probably a bit better than I will. I'll just sort of tag along if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you best be about it.
Right.
He says, that should give me time to prepare the rat.
Good. Just one stone's move before I
As
go.
she opens up what appears to be doctors. In fact, you would almost certainly say it's definitely some sort of doctor's bags full of scalpels. And no, it's a surgeon's.
Is it better than mine?
It's a surgeon's. It's different.
Okay.
Yours is more intellectual. Hers is more brutal.
Yeah. It's not the same thing anyway.
It's not. No.
Surgeons are basically glorified butchers.
Yes, they are.
Right. And
She should be cutting someone's hair.
I'll do my stones move before I go.
She looks over. Yes. And moves immediately.
5 successes.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, very good. The sexual tension is palpable.
Absolutely is.
So,
I feel
sexual
like a
tension
third
aside,
wheel.
the third stone. The east side of Middenheim. Your directions are clear. Make your way around all of the polo players. And at the moment, there's only a single match in the very center. The gathered crowds are quite distant from it because their water is a large expanse of space. And the main central area is at least a pitch and a bit's worth in terms of distance. But they're all gathered round, including a whole bunch who just waded out into the water and not care, so they can get relatively close. There's laughter and frivolity going along with it because it is indeed the Ulricans. And the Ulricans who are currently playing are much like the ones from the other day, entirely stark, quite literally bollock, naked. And enjoying themselves immensely because of the adulation of the crowds and the cheers and the shouts that you managed to go by. The team that they're going against, a team of what appear to be, let's say, rough and ready types, who have decided that the best way that they can play water polo is by wearing leather armors, and also following the somewhat more Ulrican route of using the ball as a weapon. You're not entirely sure if Middenheim knows how to play anything close to a proper sport that doesn't involve punching people. It appears, though, that both sides believe it's quite legal to use the ball as a weapon without necessarily throwing it. Both teams are wrong, and they're being constantly penalised, much to the great humour of everybody watching. By the time you eventually leave the Platz, moving north towards the palace, there has broken out a literal scrap between about 15 of them as they're dunking each other under and piling up on top of each other. One of them just wailing in, and someone going on the side, weep, weep, and crowds, way, including one wooden pointy hand.
Nice.
As you make your way up towards the main palace. Turn left or turn right?
Turn right.
That's correct. Good.
Nice.
I was down at the Temple of Sigmar.
As we head over towards the right. The main thoroughfare here is wide. The crowds are milling. It's still in the morning. Some of them are making their way over towards the garden. Some of them making their way over towards just sightseeing at the palace and seeing all the guards that are there, because that's a thing to see. Look through the gates and see the main palace itself. It's a big, big, big building. Others are making their way over towards, yes?
I've got gregarious, remember. Do you have a gregarious as a talent?
No. What is gregarious?
How many times you got gregarious?
Once, I think.
Once. That means you can pick up one useful piece of information as you're making your way through the crowds.
Very nice.
Okay, without having to do a test. Super handy. She's just naturally friendly. She bumps into people. She asks questions. She can't help herself as she's making her way along. And indeed, one useful piece of information. That useful piece of information is that there is a brothel quite close to the Collegium Theologica in particular, notorious for its student-based clientele and for many the young noble that spends many a coin in the area. You don't get the name, but you do get its location.
Excellent.
And its location is, the Collegium itself is big and spread over multiple buildings, but it's got a main central square at the front of it. And the Guild of Wizardry is just beside it. So you've been in that square. So you've already got a point of reference, an anchor point in your mind as to where it should be. And you go between the pair of them and down the side street there. And it's within sight. If you just go down the one road, it's within sight of the buildings of the Collegium Theologica. So you should be able to find it quite easy.
Nice.
Do you think that's where we should go?
Might as well.
Just cut out the Collegium?
We'll
entirely?
find out when they last saw him.
Yeah, no, that's probably true. Okay. And yeah.
Okay, it's not difficult to get there, assuming that one of you passes a simple navigation test. If you don't have navigation, intelligence will do. It's just following relatively basic directions, but it is a difficult. That's enough.
Is it?
Okay.
Navigation,
Yeah, that's enough. As you push your way through the crowds, they thicken, they part. By the Temple of Sigmar, which you end up passing by, An enormous building, much bigger than you expected for any significantly building any temple that's in Nubersreich, for example. Significantly bigger, to the scale of almost 10 times.
Is this just overcompensation here?
You could argue that if you wish to do so. It's a big temple with a tall steeple that rises up as one of the tallest buildings in all of the city. The bells ring out as you pass. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. As you make your way down some steps.
Presumably for the Sigmarite faith, Middenheim is arguably more important than, say, Altdorf.
Yeah.
No, not more important than Altdorf.
As in, because this is where
Nowhere
he went
near.
through the flames? No.
That's just one act. All the acts happen in Altdorf.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much anywhere you go in Altdorf, you're bumping into another temple to celebrate something
he did.
awesome that he did. Whether it was anything ranging from his birth to where he was crowned to where he saw off all the bad guys during one siege. This is where he held court in what was then Reichdorf.
Right.
Middenheim is where he visited a few times and conquered. Middenheim is very much a secondary location.
Yeah.
The Flame of Ulrich is a secondary thing, but nevertheless there's a High Capitular who's responsible effectively for the flame, and there's an entire order of Sigmarites that are responsible for protecting it. And that's the order that Leopold's in.
This is your swing constituency, though, isn't it? Like if you can get this place and it's Sigmarite, big thumbs up rather than anything else. So really pushing
down some steps. You go in what you believe is the correct direction, because in the end, there's only so many ways you can go. Tight, almost winding closes as you make your way eventually to the open square in front of the Guild of Wizards. You have successfully navigated Middenheim.
Okay.
Good job. And then off to the other side, that is the Collegium Theologica's main entry point, but you have no idea if the libraries are there or in other buildings or elsewhere, because there's so many connected buildings here. It's not one building is the Collegium, it's several buildings spread across the area. But if you're right, if you go between these two and go down that side street directly opposite, you will go to
Might not be the
maybe not the, but definitely relatively notorious Bawdlery.
Let's go.
To the Bawdle House.
How do we wait before we go in? How do you want to do this? Do you want to do it just straight, normal people that we are, or do you want to sort of slap something on? Maybe.
I was just going to ask them if they'd seen him and pay.
In the main square out the front.
That's pretty standard, right?
It is pretty standard. Some jugglers are juggling. And as you go past, you realise they're not some jugglers. It's some apprentices from the Guild of Wizardry. And they're not just simply juggling. Balls never hit their hands. And gusts of wind are coming out of their hands each time to ensure that it never quite goes. Young apprentices basically busking, earning some money outside the guild. And people who are interested in magic and seeing magic have clearly come here to see what's what.
I will give them a copper.
Oh, nicely done. Throw a copper in his direction. Chink in there. Thank you, Bob! Another is doing handstands about a foot off the ground. Wind blasting down his arms as he concentrates, and sweat is dripping and swirling off from his forehead. Clearly, this is quite an effort for him
I shall
to do.
give him a copper too. I have coppers.
Which brand of wizardry is this?
You don't know a great deal about magic, but even with your neophyte knowledge, you reckon this is probably blue. This is Celestial Wizards. There are, in this college, two primary groups, the Celestials and the Golds.
Yeah.
Golds are all heavy metals and practicality and logic and a few other things. Where the blues are normally, most blues are all about the future and not these blues. These blues are mostly about air,
The weather.
movement, an understanding of air.
Cool.
I think they are called elementalists. Yeah.
Yes, they have mentioned that a few times. I would have thought it was sort of a little bit of every element, but just wind. I mean, it's fire. It's very good, but you know.
I probably don't know that with lore magic too, so I won't even say it.
Love it. As you part by between the two buildings, make your way down a side street, and you see it. You presume this is probably the Bawdle House. It's relatively large. Point 1, you were told it was a big building. Point 2, it has a big sow out the front of it with big, heavy udders sitting out the back of it. It's called underneath Ulrich's tits.
Sure.
Ulrich's tits are pretty common swear. And is said by many, not necessarily even those who are particularly interested in following Ulrich's tits. But apparently Ulrich's tits are a pair of boar tits. They have been made somewhat hairy.
Oh,
because they're Ulrichs, presumably. I mean,
It's definitely a choice.
okay.
The main doorway is shut, and unlike what you would expect to see down in Reichland, where there is several sumptuary laws in place where certain colours are meant to be worn if one is a prostitute. There is no obvious red clothing, red curtains, red anything.
Mhm.
Red is a colour that carries a certain amount of scandal in certain circumstances in parts of Reichland. And a lot of that has been developed and moved on from Bretonia, where they have strong sumptuary laws. Certain colours just can only be worn by certain classes. But red is quite common for the prostitutes. There is nothing similar, so you're not 100% convinced this is the correct place, but it does have the trappings.
let's go in.
Right, after you.
Turns out that during the day, it's a coffee house.
Oh.
You open the doors and the scent of coffee washes over.
I guess we're having calf.
And it's
Okay.
got calf, 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 spelled 4 different ways. And in one corner, coffee. calf, 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 coffee.
Did he like coffee, Sigfrider? Like, did he like calf? Didn't we have calf in the morning sometime?
Leopold likes calf.
Mm,
Sigfeder just likes excess. Well, the idea of excess, at least.
Quite. There is a host of tables, about 80% full, about 20% still currently empty. And there must be at least 50 to 100 people in here. A set of swooping stairs in the top lead up to the top, and this is clearly carrying all the trappings of a bottle house. It's just that during the day, it's not a bottle house. You would guess, though, that in the far corner in the far corner, that there's a bunch of girls who are together, some of which, whenever someone comes in, they look up, clearly looking for someone or something, see you lot, don't care, go back to whatever it is they're doing. And you would guess that they are definitely prostitutes.
Okay.
The rest of it, though, absolutely not. And the serving people that are moving between them in no way leap out to you as being people who are children of the night or any other ridiculous way of avoiding saying that they are potentially part of the harlotry class.
Oldest job in the world.
Well,
do you want to sit down? Do you want to go?
I
Do you
mean-
want to brew?
Sit yourself down, love.
Right.
Says, we'll be with you in a more. And a mo is about 30 seconds before a chap comes over and says, oh, we got strong black. He says, we got a host of milk. What do you want?
what would you like?
Only one black, I'm sorry to say. Just had it shipped up from Marienburg. We've probably got enough for another day or two.
I will have black with no milk.
That I'll also have that one. What's your favorite?
It says, we also have ourselves crushed nut milk, if you prefer.
I will try that.
All right?
We're also looking for a friend. Who's best to talk to about if he might have
It says,
come here?
I'll send someone over looking for tips.
Thank you.
And pops over and goes with a far more... I wish I could whistle like this. I can't. But gives a wolf whistle. Like that. And immediately over in the far corner where all the girls are, they all look round towards where he is, and he points over to your table. And they have a quick discussion between them. And one of them goes over, talks to him, gets upset, goes back, speaks to someone else, and someone completely different comes out. Someone who's probably, you'd guess, she's definitely human. In her maybe 40s, she looks like she has seen life.
Okay.
And life didn't like her.
Mm-hmm.
Her makeup does nothing more than, if anything, exacerbate this. Almost as if she's making a statement with it, although you think that she thinks she's making a different statement than perhaps the one she's actually making. She looks pretty rough.
Does it say anywhere how much the calf is on the board?
Yeah, all drinks, spelled quite wrong.
Drunks.
Drinks, 5 pence, 5D. 5D. All drinks, 5D. all black or fuck off, says another sign over in the corner.
Right.
I don't know what that means.
I think it's sort of either you drink it black or you should go away. Realistically,
But they offered us milk.
I know. I don't know. Maybe it's sort of a snobby kind of thing.
As a clay cup is dropped down, and says, "We'll be needing that back." Clay cup down. We'll be needing that back.
Okay. Thank you.
Says, if you're looking for any food, says, just go queue up over at the far end. We got self porridge. He says some stew. I think there's some hot soup on as well and bread. Take anything you want.
So it's like 5p each.
Yeah.
So if I give him a silver, that's great.
Yeah.
With a little.
As the girl comes over and she says, "Hey, hope you're looking for business, love."
We're looking for a friend who we think has been here. Himself looking for business.
Ah, well, business is an important thing, is it not? Says, exactly how much are you willing to pay for your business? She goes straight to it.
Very direct. I thought there's usually some sort of.
What's the going rate?
Says, well, depends what you want to know, love, but you're here, hunter. She says, you should probably start off with silver shilling. Someone like yourself.
Just before we get into the haggle and the backwards and forwards, do we know?
Oh,
I'm
right.
Do we?
2 silver shillings.
No. I mean, do we know?
Just listen to the man.
Do we know that this woman gives us the information that we need?
Of course we do not.
Come on, cough up.
Wait, 1 second. Just before we start.
Come on.
What's too like how?
It's about 20 quid.
Yeah,
25
like that.
quid. It's not the greatest amount of money in
There
the
you
world.
go.
Drop it down. And she says, all right. And
No,
she
just-
sits down. What is it you're looking for?
Nordlander, shaved at the side.
That describes a lot of them, love.
Big shock of hair.
How old is he? 50s. He's very
Right,
mild.
older gentleman.
Sigfeder, he might be going by.
Oh, Sigfriedi.
Extremely voracious.
Oh, aye. I know him well. What about him?
Well, have you seen him? The
I'm not
last few
supposed
days?
to talk about him where he goes and when he don't.
Right. Well, he's a friend of ours.
Aye, that's
I'm
what everyone
worried
says, isn't it?
I'm worried about him.
Aye, aren't we all?
We are worried about him. Is probably better to say. Is this? Yeah. Okay. She wants more money. Wait. How much?
I'm going to give you a gold.
Wow. Okay. We're just doing that.
All right. Right. Well,
And you're going to tell me what you know. I'm not messing about. He's a friend of mine. He might be in danger. That's to cover the fact you've been seen.
you can see over in the corner, nudging each other, the flash of gold. As they're like, oh, one of them gets up, the other one pulls her down over in the corner. She goes,
And if you don't know, go and get me the girl who does.
Yes.
You can keep that.
she takes the coin and she leaves.
Okay. I don't.
And that leaves you with what you think is probably a 14-year-old girl. She's young. Her cheeks are flushed red because of the amount of paint on them. Her skin is not as clear as the paint would suggest. As she sits down and goes, right, so I've been told you want to know about Siggy then, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Right, between you and me, I think he done before.
What? By who?
She thinks he's. All right. No. Okay. Continue.
He got jumped, he did.
Right.
Whereabouts?
And when?
Not far from here.
What did
Down
they...
in Oakcourt. I only know about it because one of my clients, he told me about it.
One of your clients? You can
Aye.
tell me about him?
Halfling Bob.
Halfling Bob. Is he a halfling?
No.
Hilarious.
I did not think so.
She goes, no. He ain't very tall though.
Right.
And Halfling Bob had witnessed this?
Halfling Bob knows him.
Siggy or the man who jumped him?
Both.
Right.
Okay.
So
Do
we
you-
want to talk to Halfling Bob is what I'm saying.
Right.
Halfling Bob, we're laughing about it though. Doesn't like him one bit. Thinks he's a snobby old bastard. But
Right.
he's good to the girls, you know.
Siggy.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay.
So is that all you want to know?
What else can you tell me that might help me find him?
More?
More money.
You haven't paid her anything yet. She was quite forthcoming.
She was. There you go.
Fucking hell. She says, fucking hell.
Well, she's retiring.
And she stops and she goes, right. Right, well, between you and me, Athlin Bob's a lying bastard. Athlin Bob is just spreading words.
What?
He's been told to say that he's been, or something. Athlin Bob, he's a big man, but he's not a big man. He's a coward at heart.
Okay, yes.
You know the type.
Loud, but ultimately.
Exactly the sort who'd be happy to take a coin or three just to spread a tale or two. Now, between you and me, if it comes down to a fight, I put most money on Sigfeder. He's got fists like fucking mountains, that man, when he wants to. I should know, I've seen him lay into a gang of thugs that tried to, mug him once. They got themselves shocked at life, old fella, and suddenly, fist right in gut.
So what do you think's really happened to him?
Well, given the sort of folk that Athlin Bob runs with, he's probably been lost down somewhere near Pit.
Okay.
He's gone over edge. Now, it wouldn't surprise me to hear that. He's often all over town, when he's here. And he generally comes for maybe a month here, a month there, hangs around for a bit, and then pisses off to whatever it is that he does. Last I heard, he was down Dale Bear's way.
Mm-hmm.
But Athlin Bob runs with bad fellas. And if he's the one who's talking about it, saying that we're taking an out quarter, that's probably a trap.
Okay, we're quite well dealt with traps, to be fair, so that's good to know.
Alamennowyth, does Alamennowyth know, is Alt Quarter the same as the Pit? Does it lead to?
You don't know at all. You've got no lore around Middenheim.
Yeah, is Alt Quarter near the Pit?
Well, no, it's the old town is near centre, yeah, right by where all Athlins are, in the Kleinemoot. Then you go further south and over the edge, and then you drop. Pit's down there. That's the Pit.
Okay.
And
Right.
Halfling Bob has been spreading the tale that he was jumped in Alt Quarter.
Or just in general.
But you think he's probably... But Halfling Bob knows people in the Pit.
You say he sort of runs with a rough crowd, but ultimately Bob's a coward, yes?
Aye.
Is he usually on his own?
No, he's usually with at least two girls.
Right,
He makes
okay.
a fair bit of coin.
I didn't think that.
Athlin Bob is not... He's popular.
How often is he in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe once a week.
Has he been in this week? No.
Well, he hadn't seen me. I saw him, yesterday. It wasn't here. It was when I was down in Art Quarter. I was down there to see one of my friends.
Right, okay. Out of curiosity, do you know his tastes?
Can I do an intuition test?
Yeah,
To see if she's to see if she's on the level or if she's
give me
bullshitting.
your roll.
Can I
You've
show?
got empathic, so...
A 17.
You think that she is purposely avoiding certain facts, but she hasn't lied. Now, that could be very simple.
I got one B on
lies,
that.
in that she might be just looking to
She's
not...
covering up herself. a little
Covering
bit,
up her
yeah.
own story, her own life, for example, has nothing to do with this at all. But you don't think that she's lying to you. So it's more that lies of omission necessarily than lies you would guess.
Right.
Look, I understand that this Alt Quarter, you don't want to tell us why you were there. It's your business. It's not our business.
You got me another one of those. I'll take you right to Athlin, Bob.
There you go.
Fucking kidding me. She says,
What are you doing?
you got any guards?
That's
You
all my
should be
money.
flashing that sort
That's
of
all
coin.
my money.
Well, it's all mine now. She
It's
says,
like literally all her money she just spent it on this girl.
Right. No, it's fine. It's good. Yeah.
and this is how we eventually arrived down in the Out Quarter, just past midday, having traipsed around it for a good half an hour, going down a bunch of side streets, through a bunch of things. This girl just utterly unbelieving that she's got this, expecting to be jumped at any moment, half not trusting you, half trusting you at the same
Well,
time.
do you know what she should do? She should take it to a money changer or something.
She is not doing that at all. She wouldn't trust them.
Mm.
Until eventually she bursts out of these side streets into a far broader market, and it is big, hoaching full of people. And it looks like they sell almost everything here. The general smells are really heavy with meats and cooked vegetables of a variety of different kinds. Enormous banks of sausage stalls with long queues in front of them. But beyond that is just row after row after row of, let's just use the term knickknacks. Anything that one could probably want to pick up from a passing stall vendor is here somewhere. It's a big place, and clearly it's a central point for many people who know Middenheim a bit better to go out to avoid the main throng for a completely different throng. At the edges, entertainers by the bucketful. Several priests who are preaching away like mad. The entire place is also hot. It's a summer's day. It was already quite warm, but here the press of people have made it much, much, much hotter.
I'm going to say quietly, bribing Halfling Bob's not going to be an option because they just spent all my money on the girls.
No.
So we're going to need a different approach.
Well, no, we know he's a coward. We just show force, and
We're not exactly the most forceful of people.
he doesn't need to know that.
Right.
He certainly doesn't need to know that.
So you're going to be bad cop.
I can do back.
Bad cop. You're going to be the bad watchman.
Yes.
They wear copper badges in Altdorf. They
Oh,
aren't
yeah,
called
good.
cops
Oh,
in
yeah, and I've
Altdorf.
lived in Outdoor.
The interesting thing is you just existing a lot of the time freaks people the fuck out.
That's true.
So, I mean, I can do it. Do you know what I can do quite well? Sort of seemingly friendly and then turn real iffy, if you wish.
I think I'll just plunge him into the darkness of Olgun.
Okay, that seems quite...
We can't mess about.
No.
That's why I gave them all the money.
How-
If you haggle with them, they'll haggle back. These
Right.
girls are good girls. They like Sigfeder. They deserve that money.
No, but sure, fine. I don't necessarily... Brothels are always... it's fine. Let's... Halfling Bob, we need to get him on his own and probably in a room or an alleyway where we're not interrupted. Right?
Yes.
So you do the blinding thing and I'll bundle him into an environment where
You've got your kit, don't you?
I've got my kit, I have a gun, I have my sword.
Well, why don't we use your...
It does take a little while to get them under there.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing.
Right.
It's a bit of time. I've got... What I can do, however... if you think you could... Wait, where's my bag? I'm just opening my bag. 1 second. There's a lot of pockets here. A lot of pockets.
Obviously,
There we
we're
go.
doing all this like in bits as we go along.
Yeah. I have pooping bits, throw up bits, sleeping bits, numbing cream, clotting, and irritants. So we could get him to a position where he desperately needs to use the Jakes, goes to the Jakes.
I like that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's
Well, it depends where
discuss
he is.
Halfling Bob.
Mhm.
Because she, as I say, circles around the place for a good half hour or so. She knows where she expects to find him because he tends to hang out with his crew there, who are usually girls because he runs a small number of girls. As it becomes quite obvious as you move on, he's a bod.
I thought that was already obvious. Did you not get that?
I don't...
Different
stuff
classes
up.
of people
I was
get
like,
different
yeah.
answers from the same words.
Yeah. She already said that.
As it becomes quite clear, he's a bod. He is selling off, as it turns out, not just women, but men as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, as you eventually find him, hawking his wares over in a far corner, and he has taken over an alley. It's classy.
Perfect.
And he stands at the front of it on a barrel, and he is about this much higher than the girls as they stand up beside the barrel. He himself can't be much taller than about 4.5 foot tall. Halfling Bob is not a halfling. He has a beard. The first giveaway. Big beard. Probably to try and make sure that no one thinks he's a halfling. Plus, he's just way too skinny to be a halfling. Although, having said that, though, by any normal definitions, Halfling Bob is a fat man.
But not by the halfling.
But not by halfling definitions, where they are often going more of that roundish look to him. He's just a heavy bellied man. You would guess probably in his 50s.
Thinking Danny DeVito with a beard.
It's not where I was going, but it's not inaccurate. In his 50s, he's got a full head of hair, so more than just the beard. He's got a wig.
That's the penguin.
There
Danny
we go.
DeVito is the penguin with a beard.
This is the one where the guy kidnap a pimp. Got it.
Brilliant. Can't kidnap a pimp. Oh, our games. As he is just sitting there shouting at passers-by that he's got girls whose ankles can touch their ears.
Okay.
However, as you know, the vast majority of them are probably going down there for none of the above. Most likely for a quick suck. Fastest money, quickest turnarounds, and the bods know it.
No risk of pregnancy.
Correct.
Don't need to spend money on tea.
It gives you a very close opportunity to check for illness.
Exactly.
It's just a better option.
If you ever find yourself in that position, masquerading as a prostitute.
Oh, okay.
Just offer oral sex.
Gerhardt's face goes white.
Just offer to suck. It's the best way.
And then as the girl who's with you goes, that's right. She
Right,
knows what
okay.
she's talking about.
Oh,
And she goes, that's Athling Bob.
Right.
okay.
Watch out though, over there. And
She's
she
reeling.
and points. That's his guard over there. I wouldn't look him in the eye. Big chap with a beard.
Okay.
They appear to love their beards here in Middenheim, but a big chap nonetheless. He is a good bit over 6 foot tall and is taller than Halfling Bob in his little barrel. As he's sitting there with his arms folded, and anybody that goes down their little side alley, he looks at something like this.
Okay, so what do you want to do then?
His name's Kurt.
Okay.
Killer Kurt.
Oh, how do you get that? How do you get that nickname? Just because?
I don't know. I presume for the obvious reasons.
Right.
I,
Okay.
I didn't really ask him.
No, that's fair enough. I thought you might just, I don't know, have some good
Killer
dance
Kurt.
moves or something.
You want me to introduce you?
What?
Oh, your plans!
I'm still reeling from the. Just offer oral sex, God.
I'm just like, if we're introduced, then we could just ask him. He's telling his, but we'll just get the same story she got, but that might tell us something.
Mm-hmm.
So, no. We would have to ask him under duress, otherwise he's just going to lie. Do you want to?
Bells are ringing out 1 o'clock.
Right.
As Temples of Sigmar are up.
Killer Kurt is a problem right now. That's the issue that I have. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a coin purse on him?
Yeah. Or it appears to be one anyway. He's taking the coin as anyone goes with the girls down the sideway.
Killer Curtis?
No.
Ah.
Halfling Bob.
Right, it's Kurt that I want to get rid of. How would you take Kurt out of this picture?
He's on the job.
Can you blind 2 people?
No, I need to be next to him, and it's too obvious. We need to get.
She goes, I could just introduce you to him. At least that way you get a chance to have your natter.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're done with me, I'll go fuck off.
Do you know? Oh. What about if I'm selling you? Does that work? I don't know these sorts of things. Is that something that we could do?
I mean, we could.
And
could
also, if you're not offended by that as a statement.
No, but then we'll have to extricate ourselves from this situation. When you go up to someone and say, "Hey, I've got this girl. Do you want her?" Usually they take you.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking, because then we're in an environment where we're not on the street anymore, and we can pull pieces.
But like, oh my god, so ridiculous! You never would do that.
No, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works.
You know, I know that's the problem. You're not going to be able to say the right things.
Do you have etiquette criminals?
I don't even have etiquette
No.
criminals.
No, you don't.
I've got criminal, the talent, but I don't have etiquette criminals.
What about?
What is it exactly that you want? She says, not that I'm sitting here as a passive
We
bystander.
need a lead. to try to find out where Sigfeder is. That's all.
Are you really interested in where he is? I'll just ask him myself.
Right.
And she just wanders off.
Are you into what?
Might do.
Okay.
Here, Athlin!
Right, let's move away. Just
How much money have you got?
not much.
Any gold?
No.
No. You are now both poor people. As Bob turns around and goes, "Hey, up! You're finally gonna join my crew, are you?" Says, "Finest bit of tit that there is on this side of Middenheim."
He hasn't
And
met me yet,
the one in front
obviously.
says, "Here, Bob!" And she says, "None of your fucking Altdorf chat." Says, "Right then, what is it, girl?" Says, I was asking about, fella. Fella. All right, girl, come here. And they lean in and talk. Anyone got a cute sense hearing?
No, but I am an elf.
Too many people in the crowd, too much going on. This is not your
Yep.
preferred environment. No.
Indeed.
So they chat a bit. He sends her off with a spanked horse, and she returns. She says, "All right, so I think I'm right. He's been told to say something. His story's exactly the same as what he said last time.
Okay.
There's no difference at all." So I said that. I said, "Look, these people here, they're friends." I didn't point to you particularly, but he's going to be seeing who I'm talking to, isn't he?
Yeah.
And they're looking for him, and maybe most telling of all, they shouldn't. And I was like, "Why not?" And he's like, "He's gone. Just he's gone, love." And then he didn't want to talk anymore, and he just sent me off.
Okay. Well, that just confirms that we need to actually make sure that he's actually telling the truth legitimately.
No, he's telling truth. He were afraid. He don't talk like that. This is Athlin Bob. He was scared. Athlin Bob don't get scared by no normal stuff. He was proper scared. I mean, he's a coward.
How long has he had Killer Kurt?
Oh, Kurt. He's been with him for a good 4 months now, I think. But no, his tone changed. He was proper scared.
Right.
These are not good people.
Let's get out of here. If he's scared, that's dangerous.
Thank you for your help. You can.
No, we'll go back with her. I can't find my way out of here.
Oh, okay. All
And I
right.
want to make sure she gets back safely.
Rest of the session, trying to find our way home.
Yeah, and then when we get there, finding out that someone murdered the poor girl.
We're like the D&D cartoon all over again.
We're seeing her right to the door.
Okay. No, good. Fine.
So where are you getting escorted back to?
Well, we're seeing her right to her door.
Yeah, she wants to go back again anyway, because she's got work that she needs to prepare for in the afternoon. As the morning's activities all tail off elsewhere and people start looking for alternative entertainment.
Do you know what we should probably do?
Mm-hmm.
Is if we are looking for him, be loud about it. Once we get this lady back to her dorm, be relatively loud about it, and then we could, see who comes to shut us up. That'd be worth doing. I like it.
But why
Smart.
would they come and shut us up? All we're doing is asking around for where someone is.
Yeah, people don't like that when you do it, though, do they? Have a vested interest. Someone's gone missing that we made go missing.
I don't think they'll care, look.
Yeah.
What you got to realise is big city. People go missing all the time. Every door's getting chapped on by someone who's missing, That's why you need to make sure that, you look after yourself as you move from place to place.
I don't understand people.
Does the name Frau Kenner mean anything to you?
No. I mean, no. Frau Kenner? No. I don't know Frau Kenner. I'm not really in that line of business. Women. That type.
No,
Frau,
no.
married women? No.
She sells drugs.
All right.
What?
I might know about another name then.
Yeah, she sells, what was it again? Ranald's something?
Kiss,
Ranald's
Ranald's.
Kiss.
Runs the light.
Runs
That's
the
the
light,
one.
that's it.
You normally get that down pit away.
Mm-hmm.
There's I know a fella that sells it. Ain't no woman. It's a fella.
Okay,
Well,
that should be useful.
Whereabouts?
Very useful anyway.
That's down in the pit. It's a place where you can it's in the pit, but it's called the pit.
right. Maybe that's where we go next. The pit in the pit.
You think that's good? Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's a next step,
That's
isn't it?
not the sort of place I'd advise you go though. Not with that guy.
Yeah, I was thinking we
You'll
might...
get yourself mugged.
Do you think that's where he is?
No, but I think that if Halfling Bob is terrified, then it may be that he's been taken by people that are related to the woman we know
Hmm.
already.
That's
How long have we got before the fireworks again?
I'll be tonight.
Oh, okay.
Sundown.
Whereabouts is the pit in
12
relation to
bell
like?
midnight.
Yeah.
Where's the pit in relation to where we're staying?
You're staying here.
Yeah.
We're looking at the Middenheim map
Yeah.
just now. That is the Oak Quarter there. You've just come from about
Yeah.
here, so you went down from there to there. Pit down here over the edge, which is all of this area here where it goes off the edge and it starts going steep.
We have got the idea of potentially just following Bob. Do you think? So
I
you-
can't
I don't
see
think
why
he's
that'd get you
I
anywhere.
don't think he's connected.
you just
He's
think,
been paid by people he's scared of. He's sticking to his story.
okay.
He's not connected with.
Look
He's
what
not even part
Bob-
of it.
Bob-
Okay. Yeah.
Bob said that he's gone. That means he's probably not even in city.
Yes. Well.
Oh, it means he's probably dead, love.
Mm,
Your friend. If he's your friend, you're better off telling family of yours, ain't he? I mean, he's a good lad. It's all right. It's good to girls. I don't know him that well, but I know him well enough. Not like Liz. She knows him well.
Was she the first one that talked to him?
She was. She sent me over. Knew that I'd been speaking to Bob. Bob and I go back. Bob wants me to work for him.
I'm so sorry. What is your name?
She says, I'm not sure I want to tell you.
I've not asked for that reason. We don't need to know it.
All right. Just a moniker then, just so I know. Sort of
Call me Lizzie.
Lizzie. Okay. Thank you, Lizzie.
No.
Oh.
No. Then you get mixed up with Liz.
Okay.
No, go for Mole.
Right. I've already forgotten.
Don't
Goffermole.
worry, I've remembered.
Mole? No, go for Mole. I thought you said her name was Goffermole.
Gophermole.
That's why I was like.
I think
No,
that's,
it's Gopher Mole.
I think that's
She's a little
perfect
gopher.
for him to conclude.
Mole.
Interesting, go for Mole. Nice to meet you.
Go for
no,
Mole.
no. Just call me Mole.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Sorry, Mole.
That will be
Yes,
all
that
right.
makes sense.
I think we should go back and see our friends. Thank you.
Right.
I'll admit I'm a little bit concerned for him. Liz likes him. Maybe want to speak to her again.
I think so.
She might be able to send you at least in a different direction.
Yes.
Maybe somewhere where he hangs out or something.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Yep. Right.
Or she might know some of his friends.
Ulrich's tits. The clientele hasn't changed. It is still mostly folks just here for a bit of coffee, including quite a few from the university, many of whom are wearing scholastic robes. They have come down here for the opportunity to have, quite clearly, coffee in an environment where it would not normally be served. They're taking advantage of the carnival. They've turned their bottle rate into, for at least the day, a coffee shop. In the corner, Liz is still there. She's supping at a large round cup of coffee. The girls in the corner are somewhat surprisingly drinking from what appears to be some form of porcelain in comparison to the rest of the room. They're all working from mostly wooden or in a few cases tin cups. And every single time that one of them is used, we want it back, we want it back, we want it back. A few people just present their own and get it filled up.
Right. Okay.
Right,
Right.
brewing coffee.
Can you
It's
put a
heavy in
good
the
word for in with a
She
list
says,
for us?
yeah, I'll just go. And off she goes over, having said something you're not entirely sure what she said. They chat away, and then she comes over. All right, you want to know more, do you? How about we go upstairs?
That would be good. Thank you.
And she slopes her way up the stairs, gets up there and pulls out a pipe. And then goes, right, so what is it that you want to know then, eh?
Well, we're really worried about him, so we want to know.
What the fuck's it your business for? He can look after himself.
Well, some ways he can. Just occasion. Usually he has a responsibility to myself. That usually he's quite aware of, I would say.
You're like your son or something.
He's
you
his.
got to look about you.
He's his ward,
Right.
and he hasn't come back.
So you're basically looking for your father. I see what you're
Exactly.
saying.
What?
Exactly.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Or father. I don't know. I have issues with it, but everyone tells me that that's technically the relationship.
Well, between you and me, I don't think you're going to be finding him anywhere. Poor bastard got himself on the wrong side of man, I think.
Right.
The
So the
man.
wrong side of man.
The man.
Man. He runs a lot of things down Pitway.
And his name is just Man.
The man.
The Man.
Yeah. You got it.
Does he run things in the pit? In the pit?
Roundabout place. Most of the girls.
The drugs?
Do you know
Lots
what?
of that.
Do you know what he did to get himself the other side of it?
Oh, what does that man not do? He's a walking insult, that man.
Well,
That's why everyone likes him, innit?
exactly.
He's willing to stand up for girls.
Okay.
Probably stood up for the wrong one.
All right. So.
Do yourselves! Charm test.
Ooh.
Is she attracted to female
No.
elves?
Etiquette gilders.
No.
A crit!
Oh!
Obviously, we connect.
No, it's not
we
roll.
connect on a deeper level. A double crit. We really connect. Wow, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
And that's elf bullshit.
Plus anything I might also have for. I don't think I've got a boon on that. Assuming she's not a noble.
No. As she frowns. Right. You didn't hear this from me, all right? You did not hear this from me.
I don't even know who you are.
There's some bad sorts in this here town. Well, I got nowhere else to go, do I? It's my home, so. I mean, I should, but. He got himself into trouble. He were asking about well, there's this fella. I don't know his name. He's some sort of guild master. Merchant guild, I think, or something like that. And he were asking about him. Asking around about him. Throwing a name. Trying to find out what's what. And he got taken right off street. I know I was there. I was with him. 4 of them there were. Cosh to the back of his head.
Was there a blonde woman with them? Were they all men?
Oh, no. No, not one of them was a man.
All women.
I recognise one of them. She works down from Pit. She's a witch.
Dirty blonde hair?
Oh, no, she's bald.
Bald.
She's one of man's men. If you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
And she's not the sort you cross. Like, ever. Like, proper enforcer type. Lucky I knew her. She was like, gave me an odd wink. Made it clear I keep my fucking mouth shut. So I've kept my mouth fucking shut, alright? But I lost my girl 2 years ago. And I know what it's like to have someone who go missing. I'm saying, don't look for him. Just know he's gone. He's been taken by a man, I think. But I will say one other thing, though. Man didn't come after me. He doesn't leave loose things on the street, you see. He would have come over and he'd have had a chat. Not him, he'd have sent someone. Someone to come in and have a wee chat with the girl. Sit me down, made sure I understand exactly what's what. Threatened me. Made sure, my business would come to an end if I didn't do what was right, that sort of thing. But there ain't been no one by.
Someone who works for the man but was not doing it on the man's order?
Probably
Maybe.
work. It'll be a freelance job.
Gotcha.
And there's a freelance job with her. They're looking for a witch. For one reason or t'other. Now, I'm not saying that your boy is a witch. Because that man holds a title. So, he can't be, can he? But I'm telling you right here and now that they sent a witch after him. And that they were probably hired. Now, you might find by tomorrow, man will send someone my way. But he'd normally have been here by now. I've crossed man before.
What day was this?
This was 2 days ago. I
When-
spent all yesterday pissing me fucking self, certain that someone was going to be coming round to my door. Ain't no one come.
Right.
So I don't think this is the man. But it might be.
Is that something he would do as a service? Sort of hire out?
No, man works for himself. He don't work for anyone.
Right.
Right. I think we should probably go.
Yes. Thank you for nothing.
Right, you are.
Do we want to stay for a bit to look
She
like
says,
we usually
you'll be
do?
staying here for at least another 2 minutes. I ain't that fast.
You should probably.
What? Oh,
Don't worry, love.
okay.
He's getting married soon.
Well, prime candidate then, isn't
Exactly. Consider this your stag night. That's what they do in Talbotland.
She's bought you cheap, she has.
I'm. Thank you for the offer, but I am. Blather, just blather.
Hey, my
Blather and run, blather and run.
See you later.
Okay, right, we going?
So, as we make our way up the steps that lead up towards the front of the Collegium Theologica and beside the Wizards Guild, without any handy prostitutes to discuss all matters and affairs with, I'm obviously discarding your past. What are we doing? We've come to the conclusion that Sigfeder's probably been taken by someone, that he was investigating the guild master.
Which is the Wallenstein / Wittgenstein.
Yes, it is.
So it's
It's all tied.
it's them.
Which we now know, right? So we now know that he's been taken by
Probably.
those people, and they live in
And
the
that they
pit.
already knew he was a witch.
2 days ago, does that align with the day when I was somebody tried to?
No, that was like a few days before that, wasn't it?
Yes,
that was
I'm
when we
so
very
lost
first
with
came.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Fine, but there are nabbing.
I think we should go back to Magritte and see whether she has a way to tell if he's still alive.
That's quite a long. Well, no, we can't look. We're here in front of the Collegium. Do you want to have a quick look? I think we can get into the library relatively easily.
For what?
And, just something, a clue. What would it be? We know some more around that story she told us earlier. You know, the gaps in reality and all that sort of thing. Just.
What
No,
are you talking about?
Bogenhafen
Oh, that.
and here
No.
weakening.
Well, perhaps.
Now that we know
but
more.
Realistically, we can't walk into the pit and try and save him on our own.
No, I don't think we can. So while we're here, go in, get some information that will help us in the long run. Right?
Sure, I mean, we might as well give it a go.
Yeah.
We'll note that if you do get there, that will be your time.
No, I think we should go back and see Magritte and see if she can tell if he's still alive. Because if he's still alive, then they're keeping him alive and we can save him. If he's dead, then...
What if she doesn't know that?
Well, we need to go and check with her.
Okay,
She's
no,
been
that's
able
fine.
to do things like that before.
Yeah, we need. Do you know what would be useful? A homing pigeon.
Well, it would.
We should look into something like that. Is that a thing? Short-term homing pigeons?
No.
Right.
Well,
Although
it
a
is.
loft
No, it
that
is.
They go to.
If you happen to be living in a place which has homing pigeons.
Yes, quite.
No,
actually,
we're not.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Quite.
There's no person-to-person pigeons.
Yeah, no.
No
We'll
person-to-person
go back.
pigeons,
We'll go
sorry.
back pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's not that far. Plus, you would know exactly where you are and how
Yeah.
to get there. It's just retracing your steps back the way that you came. Marguerite has had her lunch and is currently indisposed.
Okay.
Ah.
She's probably doing something ritualistic. Do you have anything of his?
Sigfeder?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do actually. I think. Yes, probably. Let me have a look at my things. I'm sure he would have borrowed some of my stuff at one point.
As you puttle off, and Marguerite comes out of the room, where she is, and says, "I am somewhat busy doing things that he will not enjoy.
All right.
Is there anything you need?"
Can you?
Her hands are covered in blood.
Sigfred has been taken, probably by
The night blanches. Oh,
women's
women's
business.
troubles. And she looks back at you.
Sigfred has been taken.
And she goes,
Do you have a way to find out if he's still alive? I've sent Gerhardt to fetch some of his things.
"No. My grandfather could do that. But I presume that he probably knows where he is already. I do have something that might be able to help. But not necessarily the sort of thing that will be deemed to be frightfully useful. But I do think it is worth trying."
Let's do it.
Not wise to do it here.
Well, give it to me and I'll take it away and do it.
No, you can't. I have to do it, and I am under house arrest. It's not a quiet process. But what are you going to do? What is the alternative? She says, "I might require my fiancé to guard the door. Why don't you fetch him?"
I shall.
Gerhardt's raking through his stuff. "Book! There's one in here somewhere in the pile!"
We're going to need you to guard the door.
What?
Lady Magritte is going through terrible women's troubles, possibly
What?
very painful. And as her doctor, you need to make sure the knights do not go in while she and I resolve it.
Do you need something of Sigfeder's? I've got things. that
Bring
I-
something anyway.
Okay.
You think?
Turns out she needs nothing, because her plan is somewhat more basic. She's not determining where he is. She's determining if he's dead.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Because if he's dead,
She could summon his
What's
ghost.
the point?
that
Oh.
is what she's going to try and do.
My gosh.
Yep.
That's all I wanted. Not to know where he was, just to know if he was alive or
Not
dead.
an easy spell to
You
do.
sort of know where it is
Not
anyway.
a quiet spell to do. And also one that if she's going to be running it through Shyish, which she is, makes it incredibly difficult. If she used Dar, much easier. If she used that powerful,
But Shyish
nasty
is on the
stuff.
level,
But
right?
Shyish is on the level, so she's running a necromantic spell using just one wind. And it's tough. I mean, she might crit it. It's going to be a hard thing. It's a bit of a shrieky spell, though. So that whole line of women's troubles perfectly timed. These are going to be one hell of a trouble. As the shrieking begins, she did not crit that. Let's see how well she's going to do. Pretty good. She's not rolled a double yet. And she does have a very high casting number. She's no longer rolling those dice. I've just rolled them on the floor. So I'm going to roll this dice instead. I have loads of dice back here. Oh, that didn't help. She has got to get over 50 successes.
50?
Okay, and yes. She's doing it the hard. She could cast it like that with her.
Really?
But they'd sense it.
But no, they wouldn't. But someone else.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They
would sense it.
Right.
But even so, this is a deep drawing of Shyish. But Shyish is a difficult win for others to get, but someone's going to know about this. That's my first crit, but also my first miscast all at once. Give me a moment. Perfect. Oh, that's beautiful. That is just beautiful. The shrieks and the howls as he starts chanting on the other side could be described by some very ill-informed men as women's troubles. It is.
I need wet towels. I need wet towels immediately. As many as you can find.
He's a doctor.
This is where blather comes to its fore.
Right.
Where you can just stun them with your bullshit.
Yeah, just
wet towels.
over and
Just so
over
many
again.
wet towels.
Charm
There's not enough
test,
wet towels. I need more wet towels. More, damn it.
Charm test, please. Let's see how well he does.
All right, not bad.
The rounds is important because I counted my rounds.
These are nobles, right?
Yes, they are.
They are nobles, right. Now, etiquette nobles has changed, hasn't it? So
Yeah.
if it's not good
Doesn't
enough,
give you
it
a good-
goes under, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. 51. 3 percentiles. I'm going to reroll. Fortune point.
Mhm.
Fuck you. 5 percentiles. Then I will use etiquette nobles to just get 1 success.
Good, that's better than none. Okay, that holds them off for a bit before they start growing very concerned by the noises coming from the other side. So, blather, having reached its natural culminating point,
Towels!
Three
Just towels!
Knight's Panther looking on with increasing discomfort at the sounds coming from the other side, certain that something's going wrong. What is our fall back plan to keep these Knight's Panther outside of this room?
Am I in the room?
No, you're on the outside of the room
Outside
with
the
him.
room. Oh, so I could have assisted him in his very first one, and got
Do you have blather?
No, but I've got distract.
No, that doesn't count. You need blather. If you want to assist in the blather test.
I'm going to just...
So what's our second fallback plan going to be?
Christ, what's that second
Our
one?
second fallback plan is going to be me just like really charming them.
You're going for a full-on charm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've got cat tongue. Like,
cat tongue's good for lying.
Yep.
What sort of charm are we going for here? Are you attempting to be all sophisticated and charming and calming them down? You attempting? In fact, I'm not going to give you ideas. What is your plan? How do you intend to keep these three fellows from bursting their way in?
I'm going to use etiquette noble and convince them that Reiklander noble ladies are a different breed.
Yeah, okay. Cat tongued is going to be much more useful than etiquette noble in this particular case. Yeah, do your test. Oh, what bullshit this is. Love it.
4, 5, 6 successes.
6 successes, pretty decent. You can, if you wish, provide
I'll spend a
support to
fortune
this.
point as well to get
If
7.
you wish to do
Yeah,
so,
do
you
it.
can provide
Because you're a
assist.
Reiklander
Yes,
and a
you are.
doctor.
You can support it
And
and
I've
everything.
got Renald's Honour, right? Which...
Yeah, that just means that you're innocent, man. Okay, so do your D100 rolls
Yeah,
on
you
your
support
charm
me.
test.
Do you want to...
Yeah, because every success does indeed
Oh,
count.
for God's sake. That's a fail on my end.
That's a fail. Good. So how many
Spend a
successes?
fortune point.
Spend
Do you
a
have any?
fortune- Yeah, I do. I've got loads.
Okay, go.
I got 7 because I'm spending a fortune point to get an extra success.
Success.
And he got
No, so that's 8
8.
in total. Nice. That's pretty decent, actually. So that's, you held off for that, counting that, spell ends. And you got 1 left. So you've done it, but they haven't pushed past you. They're not falling for it. Okay, but you've stalled them long enough for the spell to go.
Right.
And it falls silent and gets cold as your breath starts steaming in the air. Gets cold.
Ulrich.
Nice one.
Ulrich is
You might
with
fall
us.
for that. Another charm test, please.
Right, brilliant. Okay.
that
All right.
Because that failed, so I'll do that. Is 7 successes.
They look at each other, and on the obvious officer goes, appears to be. Are you sure she's well? Are you sure? The owls.
I'll have a look. I'm a doctor, so give me one moment. I'll check her over, and I'll let you know if I need anything. Thank you for all these towels. I appreciate that. Just nip in, my lady.
You go in. Do yourself a fear test.
Oh, yay!
That's your cool.
My cool, is it?
Knew I should have gone in.
Whoa! I get to spend a fortune point. Oh, it's almost
It's the
exactly
same roll.
Nothing, just fail.
There are moments in every relationship where you finally get to see your partner for who they are as they drop their mask. They remove the attempt to try and charm the other person, and you begin to realize that perhaps they leave their toothbrush in a way that you just don't like, or maybe they leave the fridge door open. Everybody's got their own little foible. Hers, apparently, is turning around to see who's entering with a face that looks like a skull.
Okay, right.
And behind her, a tormented, twisted, screaming spirit of some sort that is moving on the spot in silence. You're never going to forget this moment. It is carved into your brain as you cool back and
white
at least you didn't
clothes.
fumble. Yep.
But I was real bad at that.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh no, he has! It's real bad in here, he says.
A woman shall deal with this. Stronger stomachs. She'll just roll her eyes.
Cool test.
Cool test. I'm good at this. Oh, fumbled. I spend a fortune point. Yeah, that's much better. I passed.
As you are confronted by the skeletal face of Margarita, whose hand is now listed as a claw, other one held. She's clearly ready for potential offensive coming from this side.
I'm just going to shut the door.
As she continues with whatever she needs to do on the inside. And what do you say to the men?
What happened? It was chill.
Aren't cold, yes.
Cold. I'll just say how troubles have almost passed.
Mysterious. I like it. Yeah, charm test.
Do I get advantage because I did so well last time?
Yeah, no.
You really don't want to go in there.
Yeah. That is 6 successes.
Oh, nice.
Very good.
Well,
I did have to spend it.
maybe you should attend on her and help resolve it.
She doesn't really look like she wants company, does she?
Prickling at the back of your neck goes down. Whatever was being done has probably been finished.
Oh, that is wise.
You're not sure you want to go in there?
I'll go in.
No, I'm going to. Look, gentlemen, do you want a stiff drink before?
And she's sitting in her chair, looking back to normal. Her face has returned to its normal pallid colour, rather than bone white.
It is a burden we women have to carry.
As she looks at you and says, "Yes, a burden, but one that will hopefully pass with the fullness of time in marriage."
Exactly. I'll just leave it because everything looks normal in here, right?
Yep.
So I'll just open the door and let them see it's normal.
They look in, and shake their heads and go off. And stays at the door.
I'm not joking about that drink. I'm drinking a lot actually at the moment because that's how I sleep to make sure I don't do stuff. So I've probably got a bit of hard liquor in my room.
We've got to.
So what do we find out? What do we find out? Sigfeder died yesterday.
Oh, too late.
Sigfeder's spirit was impossible to contact. She has come to the conclusion that Sigfeder has probably gone to one of the ruinous powers.
Yeah.
His soul claimed by something else. The chances of his soul being given Mor's peace are, she thinks, next to none. the other potential route towards the spirit not being contactable. Most souls are not given Or's peace. They just aren't. It requires a blessed priest of more, which means that another god has claimed him, and he's a witch. No gods readily pick up the witches. Not readily. It generally requires something special to have occurred, at least from what she's aware of. And she says, so I'm sorry to say, I think he has fallen. And I think I know in which direction, and it is not the one I expected. She says, I heard whispers as I was attempting to contact his soul, and they were trying to tempt me. But not with magic. I am sorry to say that his soul has been claimed by the prince. I am sorry to say that whatever it is that we are attempting to stop is much more complicated than we first thought. I had the wrong spells prepared. I was expecting it to be the architect, and that is what I had warned against. I will not be able to do any more magic for at least a day. It would be deeply unwise. They are alert, and they are around, which is unfortunate for anyone else in the city also. I'm somewhat shaken.
As am I.
I am sorry. It was his own free spirit that ultimately has led to his downfall and his inability to work as a member of the team. She says, perhaps an object lesson for all of us. I prefer to work alone, and I have just seen the dangers of that put directly in front of me. I shall meditate on it.
Thank you for...
We are in terrible danger.
Gerhardt just goes to his room.
And on that, we bring that exciting side episode to a close.
Blue.
Boo.